there! Welcome to Artfully Sew, where we get creative with our sewing, quilting, and upcycling projects. My name is Angela, and I love to take old things and make them new. This is Stella. She loves to help. Right, Stella? Well, today we're in my kitchen because I have a recipe for you. But it's not a cooking recipe, it's actually a recipe for making zipper flower pins. I have some of mine that I've made here on this cake plate. In my past videos, I've shown you now and again these pins that I make that are out of old vintage zippers that I cut and shape into flowers and add like buttons or add beads, even some lacy trims, just to make them unique. I wish I could say I thought of this idea myself, but honestly I've seen them out and about and thought, gee, I have a lot of zippers, so I could make some of these. Also, knowing that this project was coming, I couldn't resist. When I was at Goodwill, I picked up a bag of zippers. All these zippers cost $3.99, which is a pretty good deal. But first I'm gonna open these up and put them in this bowl. Well, this was quite a find. Since I'm making flower pins, I'd like some flowers that look pretty and colorful. This tan isn't really what I'm looking for, so I'm gonna just look and see what we find here. Here's some fun things. Look at this zipper. This looks like a jean one. Orange is a good color for a flower. Green is always good too because I like to put leaves on some of them. Yellow, gray color for a flower, especially like the center. I like this turquoise. You know, I should try to make the zipper pin match my outfit. Since I want to make a flower that matches my outfit, and daisies are my favorite flower, I think I'm going to try to make a daisy.
I've always preferred wildflowers.
I suspected as much.
Daisies usually have some kind of a center and then petals around the outside. So I think I'm going to start with this orange and make that the center of my flower. And then I'm going to use this yellow as the outside. I might use this green or maybe even this blue for a leaf, or this turquoise color.
Are you doing that on purpose? Or can't you make up your mind?
That's the trouble. I can't make up my mind.
We'll just see as we go. That's how I like to do things. I just kind of have a plan in my mind, but then change it as I go. But let's start with the center. The nice thing about zippers is that, in a sense, I'm going to have double the length because there's two sides. So I'm going to just take my scissors, cut open the end, and I don't want to cut metal with my sewing scissors. That would be bad. So I'm just going to kind of pull it apart. I'm also going to trim off the edges. So let's start with some orange thread. I'm gonna just pull out, I don't know, about that much. I'm gonna use my thread scissors that my sister-in-law got me for Christmas. Thank you, Sarah. I love them. I'm just gonna thread my needle. This thread that I'm using is a little thin, so I'm gonna double it just so that in case when I tug on it, it won't break. I'm putting a knot in the bottom. And then I'm gonna just go back and forth and do kind of a really loose basting stitch. And I'm going to stitch pretty far away from the zipper. I'm gonna do it on the far edge of the zipper. Just keep weaving it back and forth for a little bit until I have a little bit to work with, and then I'm gonna start wrapping it. And as I pull on this, it kind of makes a natural little circle. I'm tucking in that really the very end of it, kind of in the center, and pulling this tight so that it wraps around. But when I get it kind of in a place that I like, I'm gonna start stitching without even cutting or knotting off this end. I'm just gonna start stitching that circle center. I'm gonna stitch it so that it stays secure. And that's part of the reason I wanna use orange thread, is because I'm going to sew over the top of the zipper to secure it. And if I'm using this orange color, you're not gonna see that stitch. I think that looks pretty good, just the basic flower center. So I'm gonna take my scissors that aren't my sewing scissors, just some regular scissors, and I'm gonna cut between the teeth. Now I have a little flower center. So now I'm gonna move on to the petals. Like I said, for the petals, I'm going to use this yellow zipper. I'm gonna just pull it apart. I might have to use both zippers for this pin, because this isn't very long. And for this one, I might do the petals a little differently than I did on the other flowers. You know how daisies kind of have those nice long petals? And I'm kind of just making an estimate of how many little petals I can get out of this piece. I think I could get 3 out of each, so 6 total. See, 3 little guys, 1, 2, 3. And to make the most of this fabric, I'm gonna cut them out. So now that I have 3 petals, I'm gonna cut those 3 petals with my really crappy scissors. And they're about the same length. You know, real flowers don't have the exact same petals. They're all different kinds, different sizes. So if they're not exactly the same size, I'm not gonna care. And to make the petal, I'm gonna bring the metal zipper part together at the bottom. And I do want these to kind of look like a petal. So if I turn it on itself, like if I kind of make it look like a hood, I'm gonna make that little hood, I'm just gonna tack it. And actually I'm gonna turn it, the cut edge, in a little bit so that it's gonna get sewn down. And I'm gonna take my needle and thread and just kind of give it a few stitches. And once it's kind of secure, I'm gonna knot the back. I'm gonna trim it up. Looking at the petal with the center, it's gonna be really cute. So I'm gonna make the rest of those and add them to this flower. Going to show you how I make these that are just one zipper. What color flower should I make? I think I'll make this turquoise color. So once again, I'm going to unzip the zipper and take off the metal zipper part. Ouch. Sometimes easier said than done. I'm also going to trim the end off of this zipper because I don't want that extra fabric hanging out. I'm going to take a matching thread and I'm just going to sew back and forth a real loose basting stitch along the outside edge of the zipper. I wonder where that Stella dog has gone. Stella! Stella! trying to get some projects done, you usually help me. Just going to kind of gather it together, start pulling it down till it kind of makes this loop. I kind of have to adjust the stitching or let some of the stitching out. That's why I don't really knot it in the beginning. I'm just kind of free forming it with my fingers. Since I really like the center, I'm going to start stitching the center. I think I'm going to end up putting a button in that center because I don't like how raw the edge looks, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. I like that. It's a fun little circle flower. There, we have a nice little flower blob. So, I brought some buttons.
Well, bust my buttons!
Let's see what we can find for a center. Thinking since we have kind of a cool color, I want a warm color for the center. Ooh, this is fun. I like this button because it has silver around the outside as well. That might look nice. Ooh, I like that. That's what I'm gonna do. You know, I could spend a lot of time looking through all these buttons because there are more than one choice that would work. But sometimes you just have to go with your first choice just so that you don't spend all day looking for the perfect button. Okay, so I didn't tie this off yet, so I'm gonna add my button by going back up through the center, pulling that button through, pulling that button through without losing it. Now, doesn't that look nice? To make a leaf for this flower, I think I'm gonna pull from the colors that I actually took out in the beginning because this turquoise would look good with a gray. So let's see. That looks pretty cool. I think I'm gonna try that. Once again, I'm gonna stitch along the outside edge of the zipper, going in and out until I kind of get a leaf look. Actually, I'm gonna cut the zipper first, and then I'm gonna stitch that part down. And I'm also going to stitch it to the flower. And I'm going to be careful that I don't stitch through to the front because I don't want this gray thread to show on the front. So I'm just picking up a little bit. You could use pins or clips to hold it in while you're sewing. I just use my finger. Part is adding the actual pin or clip to the back of the brooch. I like to use clips versus pins, but you're welcome to use whichever kind you like. These you can get at any craft store. You can order them online, I'm sure too. The best way to attach the pin or clip to the back of your brooch is by using felt. By using felt, I can cover up the stitching in the back. I just have to make it about the size of the pin, and I just go around it, and then just cutting a little bit on the inside of that line because I don't want it to show through to the front. I do want to make stitches on it, so around the outside, so I don't want it to be exactly that size. I need it to be just a little bit smaller. The trick is finding out where you want the pin. If you sew the pin too low on the back, the top flips forward. So you want to make sure that your pin or clip is up towards the top, but yet not able to be seen from the front. Pins have holes in the backs, so you can sew through those holes onto the felt really securely. These clips that I bought don't actually have holes in the backs. Sometimes they do. So I just make sure I sew it securely around the clip part and then just go all the way down the whole entire clip. And then I'm just gonna sew it to the felt. Like I said, I'm going to actually make sure I'm sewing both the front, both the inside of the clip and the outside of the clip so that it stays securely on to the felt. And once I've gone back and forth a few times, then I'm gonna open up the clip while I'm sewing and go along the base of that clip to keep it secure to the felt. When I come back along the edge of it, I'm gonna go across like an X to make an X. Now I'm gonna knot it in the back, but I'm not gonna cut it because I'm gonna use this thread already attached to attach it to my piece here. Another thing to be careful of now as you stitch it, that you don't show the thread to the back side, to the front side of the pin. Just go around the whole perimeter of the pin to make sure that the felt is secure. Once I get all the way around, then I tie a knot. Since it looks good, I'm gonna trim the edge. And now we have a nice pin. These pins not only work great on clothing, but I love to add them to hats, to purses, to present tops. I love how this one matches my outfit and my personality because I am totally a daisy girl. This one also turned out really cute. So this one is kind of that rosette one that we made. So do you think this is something that you could make? Or what other ideas do you have that we could use zippers for? I am excited to have some more in my collection. I hope you can make some for yourself too. If you do make some of these, please make sure to tag me Artfully Sew if you post it on Pinterest, Instagram, or Facebook. Hashtag Artfully Sew. As always, remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Don't worry about making it perfect. And remember, you can artfully sew. Bye-bye. Are you helping me today? Can I have my spot, please? Thank you.